Hello, my friend. Have you ever thought about going on a fully supported long-distance bicycle tour? Well, it might be for you, and then again, it might not. I'm going to review right now a tour that Jan and I took about 5 months before the pandemic started. And that is a bicycle tour on the Silver Coast of Portugal. It's around the Porto region. We started the tour with 10 other people that we had not met yet, but soon became friends. The event was put on by a company called Top Bicycle Tours of Porto, Portugal. We started out in downtown Porto, and it was recommended to us by the Bicycle Touring Pro, who also joined us on this tour. As we left the center of Porto, we cycled through a beautiful park. It actually reminded me of Central Park in New York City. It was about a half a mile long. And then just before leaving the city, we crossed over the Louis I bridge that goes over the Douro River. Now this bridge, when it was built back in the late 1800s, was the longest bridge of its kind in the entire world. As you can see from the video here, we finally got to cross over the bridge leaving Porto. We were finally able to look back at the bridge that we just crossed. And then for the next few hours, we were able to cycle on some beautiful bicycle paths that took us not only along the river, but also along the beaches. During our first break of the morning, we were able to stop, and as you can see, this gentleman, Enrique, who wasn't just a tour guide, but he was also the bicycle mechanic, was tending to someone's bicycle who had a mechanical problem. During that same break, we were able to walk out to a little chapel that was actually in the middle of the beach. Here you can see the inside of the chapel, and it was also a good place for some photo opportunities. It wasn't long before we were back on our bikes, and we continued on our trip down the Silver Coast. This is one of the occasions where we had stopped for lunch, and let me tell you, the food was absolutely amazing. Really every place that we went. And then after lunch, we were once again back on the path, this beautiful newly painted bike path. And we continued on, and really that was the end of day one. As you can see from this illustration, we only did 23 miles the first day, but we stopped along the path to take in the history, take in the beautiful scenery at 7 miles an hour. Here we are starting day 2, leaving our 5-star hotel, which was really a nice place. As we cycled ahead through the fog, we ran into this boardwalk that went on for miles. It certainly was an enjoyable ride. Another point I'd like to make about a fully supported bicycle trip is they know the shortcuts. Here we pulled off the road, and lo and behold, there was a path through a hedge that you would have missed if you didn't really know where it was ahead of time. So they took us through this hedge, and on the other side there was a beautiful crushed stone path lined with palm trees. A little bridge that took us to the other side of the canal, where we continued on our ride. As we continued, we then came to a ferry boat that would be taking us to the city of Aveiro, which is called the Venice of Portugal. So how's your ride been so far, man? All right. So after we got off the ferry, we proceeded to go by a commercial fishing area with many old, rusty fishing boats that were actually still in service. Upon our arrival to the Venice of Portugal, we checked into our hotel, and then we were treated to a nice gondola ride up and down the canal. It gave us a glimpse into the history of Aveiro. So this was the end of day 2, where we had gone from Furadouro to Aveiro. And again, it was a very flat ride and only 39 miles. The following morning, as we were getting ready to leave, our tour guide had to tend to some of the bicycles. Overnight, there was a slow leak in a tire, and it called for changing the tire before we all got on the road. As you can see, their gondolas are all set for another day of tourism. As we went under this bridge, I was inspired by Ryan Van Duzer. Ole, 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 ole. If you're not familiar with him, look him up. He's got a great YouTube channel. So in this day, once again, we encountered a lot of different types of terrain, going through small villages, going over bridges, big and small. As we came into this community, I've highlighted this van that has been shadowing us. This is the support van from Top Bicycle Tours that followed us all the way. In it were repair tools, tires, along with snacks and beverages. So here we stopped in another small community, and we toured a fish market that had all sorts of fresh seafood, some that we were familiar with, and others that we were not so familiar with. And after the fish market, we walked down along the sidewalk and we encountered a porcelain and ceramic shop. It was a beautiful artwork that Portugal is known for. And then it was back on the road to our next destination, which was lunch. Again, the food was top quality wherever we went. Here we had barbecued beef, fried potatoes, and rice, and boy, was it good. After lunch, we were back on the trail. We went along the beach and then we went along some rivers. On paved roads. On dirt roads. Really off the beaten path. After riding for a while, our next stop was the Vista Alegre Porcelain Factory and Museum. And it gave us a glimpse into how these fine pieces of art were manufactured. Here you can see a display of some of the very intricate, finely painted designs. And then it was back on the road. As we were going down this tree-lined bike path, I noticed something in the road, and as I got closer, it looked like a 10-inch diameter cannonball sticking up out of the pavement. I highlighted it here, and if you were to hit that on your bicycle, you would do some damage. Here's another look at it, something that I've never seen on a bike path before. As we rolled into our hotel, this was the end of day 3. So our trip today from Aveiro to Mira was 33 miles at an average speed of 9.4 miles an hour, a leisurely, enjoyable pace. So that's it for days 1 through 3. Join me next week where we will complete the journey and get attacked by deadly lobsters on the way.